Well, that wasn't a dream. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you are new here, then please do me a favour and hit that subscribe button. NFL free agency is well underway. The legal tampering period began yesterday, and just as always, it went boom. Load of signings straight away, load of guys getting paid a lot of money off the bat, and as we get every year, a load of Browns fans panicking because the Browns haven't signed anyone in the first 10 minutes of free agency. Calm down, guys. They've never thrown themselves into it this early on. They're never one of the big spenders straight away under this regime. Something I actually think is a good thing, because if you look historically, the big spenders in free agency aren't always the most successful teams the year later. And it does seem to be the same few teams the last few years that have been throwing a lot of cash at guys early on, i.e. the Patriots and the Jaguars. Both teams haven't got much success to show for it. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with sitting back, for me, letting the market, let the craziness happen, let the guys get overpaid, let the market kind of settle a little bit, and then get about your serious business. Something the Browns kind of have always done under this regime. So don't be concerned if they haven't signed 10 guys even by Wednesday or Thursday. These deals will come, even some even later after the draft. You never know. There's always guys to be signed before the season starts. But my first reactions to obviously the news that we've had, some Brown stuff, and obviously just some of the NFL stuff around the league. First and foremost, the most obvious one, of course, I think Browns Twitter and social media was sent into an absolute meltdown when this news came through. The Cleveland Browns traded Dorian Thompson-Robinson and a 5th round pick to the Philadelphia Eagles for Kenny Pickett. Yes, Kenny Pickett, former 1st round pick of the Pittsburgh Steelers, former top 5 banter quarterback for Browns fans on the internet to take the mickey out of, is now a Cleveland Brown. It is funny how these things work. A lot of hilarious tweets, posts, takes about this yesterday. Yes, it was, all I could do was laugh, if I'm honest. When the news came through, I did have a good giggle. It was quite funny. Then as the dust kind of settled and you actually think about it, I'll be completely honest, and I will probably get laughed at for this. But I don't actually hate it that much, because in the end of the day, he's at best going to be your backup, or your 3rd string. You can do worse, in my opinion, at backup quarterback, or, as I said, 3rd string, than Kenny Pickett. You can do with that what you want. You might disagree with me, you might not. He's cheap. He's only on, I think, just over $2 million his salary this year. He is a former 1st round pick. Yes, he should not have gone in the 1st round, but there was a reason. He's not. It's not like this is just a random guy. I do believe that getting him for what they did is not the worst thing in the world. Would I have liked to give up a 5th round pick? Maybe not, but in the end of the day, it's a 5th round pick. The Browns were never going to make 11 picks this year anyway. I'd have been quite surprised if they did. If he can be your backup next year, hopefully not, but if he has to come in and play a few games and does well, you don't care about the 5th round pick. So while it is funny, whilst the memes are hilarious, I'll be honest, once the dust has settled, I'm not hating on it as much as other people are. I get it, obviously, the jokes with Kenny Pickett, the former Steeler, I get it. But just in terms of purely football, I honestly think you can do worse as a backup / 3rd stringer. And I do think the chances are he probably will be the backup, unless he is beaten out by someone else they sign or a rookie. But they gave up somewhat fair compensation for him. They clearly have some interest and intrigue in him to give up a 5th round pick and DTR. So I do expect him to make the 53. And who knows, we might be having to cheer on Kenny Pickett for a football game next year. You never know. But as I said, it's funny. I understand why people don't like it, but for me personally, I think you can do worse as a backup or a third string. So I don't hate it as much as maybe some others. The Browns then made their first signing of free agency and of the evening. I will admit I was asleep by the time this one came through. For any of my Americans listening, I think it was 12:30 a.m. it came through in America, which of course with the current time difference is 4:30 in the morning here. So good news for me to wake up to. Browns signed Cornelius Lucas, sorry, I'm so bad with that first name, to a 2-year deal worth up to $10 million. As I said, I really like this move. He was one of my top offensive tackle targets. One of the guys that I mentioned in my free agency preview. You know, he provides a legitimate swing tackle who could start if DeJuan Jones isn't ready. And, you know, whilst it means that the Browns aren't forced to go tackle early in the draft, they can still draft a guy to develop behind him. He's played over 1,000 snaps at both left tackle and right tackle. So quite literally the definition of a swing tackle in the NFL. He had the lowest pressure rate last year amongst all tackles in this year's free agency class and the second best pass blocking grade. Just a perfect option at swing tackle in my opinion, and someone that you would also feel more than confident about him having to fill in, you know, as a starter if needed. I really like this move. To be honest, I don't think the Browns could have done better when it comes to replacing James Hudson, who, by the way, got a $12 million deal with the New York Giants that's worth up to $17 million. That is absolutely wild to me. Fair play to him. You know, whilst I understand that Hudson is much younger, getting Lucas for cheaper than the Giants paid the guy he's replacing is great business in my opinion. Really like this move from the Browns. And then another signing that was announced today, literally about an hour or so before as of recording, so pretty fresh one. The Browns have signed outside linebacker Joe Tyron Shoy Inca. Andrew Berry is truly addicted to signing former first-round picks, man. He absolutely loves it. He can't get enough of it. If there's a former first-round pick available, Andrew Berry will make the phone call. It's a 1-year, $4.75 million deal, which, in my opinion, is a good low-risk, high-reward option at edge. He's been somewhat inconsistent in his first 4 years in the NFL. But he has started 45 games and has 15 career sacks. And to be fair, Tampa did drop him into coverage fairly often. He is a true outside linebacker. So it's not like he was, rushing the passer on every single down. I do like this move. As I said, low risk, high reward for a rotational edge. Which I don't think this in any means, stops you from signing a starter next to Miles, or of course drafting an Abdul Carter. I do think that, if he works out, he could potentially provide better value than Obo in that role and take his spot. Would not be shocked if Obo was cut. That is something that, would not surprise me that much. A way of saving more money. But I think this is another nice addition to this Browns defensive line. As I said, low risk, high reward. Someone that tested really well at the combine. A lot of guys that I follow, draft guys, really like this guy coming out just purely off the athletic testing alone, let alone the tape and stuff. So, someone that has shown that he can be a plus level player. As I said, it's just been fairly inconsistent. But, if the Browns, it's only $4.75 million. It's not, a big deal at all. If he works out, great. If he doesn't, then, you took a swing at it. Finally, on the Browns, they have released Dalvin Tomlinson in a somewhat surprising move. It does, however, create 14 million in cap space. I suggested that the Browns would go after Javon Hargrave or Jamont Jones, even with Dalvin on the roster. You know, Hargrave has signed with the Vikings, but I could still see the Browns pursuing a deal, you know, with the Cleveland native in Jamont Jones. They certainly need to sign a starting level defensive tackle, unless they have that much confidence in Javon Briggs and Michael Hall, which I do highly doubt. But it was an interesting, somewhat surprised me to see it come through. But, you know, when you think about the money they were able to save, I get it. This deal, when it was signed 2 years ago, the out was always after 2 years. I thought personally that he did enough to, you know, get another year here. Especially you look at the kind of like last 7 games, he was really, really productive. I think led the NFL in like quarterback hits and stuff as well. So I thought he did enough, but in the end, clearly they decided to take the out that they put in that contract when they signed him 2 years ago, and, you know, go in a different direction. So we'll see, you know, where they look to replace Dalvin. I expect them to sign a couple of guys. Maybe it's going to be a position that they'll target early in the draft. Now, we'll have to wait and see. But some other moves around the NFL for the other teams. Just a few quick ones I just want to touch on. Of course, the quarterbacks. What guys are now off the market? You know, the Browns are in the market for a free agent quarterback. Them drafting Kenny Pickett does not stop those plans, as much as some people might. You know, I think some people's reaction to the Kenny Pickett trade yesterday was that they thought this was the Browns' answer at quarterback, and that this was the plan, that they told Myles Garrett that Kenny Pickett's going to be the starter. I highly, highly, highly doubt that. I think they still carry on, you know, business as usual as they were going to do, which, let's be honest, it's Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk Cousins is still the most likely one for me. If you watched any of my videos on this offseason and, you know, the Browns free agent targets, he's been my number one option throughout this whole process. I still think that's where they're looking to go. But we have heard a few rumours, maybe, just maybe, Russell Wilson. I'll be honest, I would have to go and delete a few tweets and a few videos because I've said some pretty. I'm obviously joking. I would not do that. I would eat it. I would, and if he came in and was good, I would eat all of that and admit that I was wrong. But I've been calling Russ cooked for 2 years now, and I wasn't interested going into this process. I don't think I still am. But if it happens, I'm a Browns fan. I'll support anyone that comes. I'll try my best to get motivated by it. But as I said, for me, I still think it's Kirk Cousins. That's the option that I personally, myself, would go. And the option that I think the Browns are looking to go as well. We'll just have to wait and see how the next couple of days unfold. But as I was saying to the other guys around the league, Sam Darnold to the Vikings. 3 years, 100 million with 55 million guaranteed. I said this whole process that I wasn't interested in Sam Darnold, and this is why. Absolutely fuck that. That's a lot of money for someone that I am not convinced can repeat their form from last year. But hey, we'll see, I suppose. Happy for Sam, of course. I'm not against anyone getting paid. Go get your money. Go get the bag. I'm all for it. But I just personally would not have done that myself for the Browns, and I'm glad they did not get involved in the Sam Darnold market. Another market I'm glad in the end they did not get involved in, Justin Fields, signed with the Jets 2 years, 40 million with 30 million guaranteed. Another guy that I didn't think the Browns would be interested in, because of the price, and he got more than I expected. I'm happy for Justin, of course. Former Buckeye, absolutely loved Justin coming out. But there's not a chance in hell that the Browns were giving him that contract. I don't even think they were remotely involved at any point with Justin Fields, as I kind of expected. And then today, Daniel Jones to the Colts. Kind of surprising. 1 year, 14 million which could rise to 17 million with incentives. That's a lot of money for a backup. Is Anthony Richardson available? Because call me crazy, but I'm making that phone call as fast as I can. Daniel Jones, was one of the more realistic options for the Browns and someone that I had as, one of the targets for them. But I'm not 100% sure, that they'd have even given him that money, and they don't even have Anthony Richardson on the roster. So quite a confusing one with the Colts there. Not entirely sure what their plan is, but I suppose we'll see. But they're the three kind of main guys that have gone off the market at quarterbacks. You've still, of course, got Aaron Rodgers out there that apparently is considering the Steelers. So maybe we get to face Aaron Rodgers in the AFC North twice a year. Who knows? As I mentioned, of course, Russ and Kirk Cousins as well. There's still guys out there. And to be honest, as I said, I didn't think the Browns would be interested in Sam Darnold and Justin Fields anyway. So the only guy that's actually off the market that I think they were looking at is Daniel Jones. So most of their options are still out there. And as I said, I still think I'm still leaning that they want to go Kirk Cousins, and I'm all for it. That's what I would do as well. Couple of other ones quickly just to finish off. The Titans have signed Dan Moore, Myles Garrett's son, to an $80 million deal after going offensive line in the first round of the last two drafts. It does make you wonder if they're preparing to bring in a rookie quarterback, given their urgency to reinforce that line. It is a classic we're bringing in a rookie move. Maybe it's Cam Ward to the Titans after all, and the Browns essentially would have the first pick of all of the other players in the draft that aren't Cam Ward, because I don't believe Cam Ward to be a top 10 prospect in this draft. I think he's the best quarterback, probably. Still could be convinced otherwise, but Browns will have first pick of the top prospects. If you've watched any of my draft videos, that's Abdul Carter. Trade back, I probably still would as well, but Abdul Carter at 2 is looking more and more likely as the days go by, which I'm of course happy about. And then finally, Javonte Williams signed with the Cowboys on a 1-year, $3 million deal. He was one of my targets for if the Browns wanted a potential starter at running back. So I'd have 100% given him that contract, to be honest. Kind of surprised he didn't command a bit more money. Especially when you look at an Elijah Mitchell, who was one of my depth targets at running back. He got more money than Javonte with the Chiefs. So, that just goes to show how hard it is to predict these guys' markets. I'm not an expert, and even the experts get this stuff pretty wrong. So we'll have to wait and see, of course, how the rest of free agency unfolds. I will be here to cover any Browns news, any moves that they make. Looking forward to the next few days as we get into the weekend. As I said at the start, don't panic just because the Browns haven't signed everyone within the first 2 days of free agency. That's never been how they've operated under this regime. It's not something that they do. And to be honest, as I mentioned, I don't think that's a bad thing. Let the craziness happen. Let the market kind of settle down a little bit and then make your serious business then. But we had some funny ones, even despite of that, of course, with Kenny Pickett. This team truly never fails to keep me entertained, shall we say. So let's just keep that entertainment in a good way the next few days as we go into the weekend. And I hope to see some more moves that, I want and that I think will make the Browns a better team for next year. But that would do it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you do enjoy my content, then please drop this video a like, hit the subscribe button. It's free, but it really helps out my channel. You can also check the links in the description to see where you can follow and interact with me on social media. As I always say, I'm trying to build a community of Cleveland Browns fans, and even if I only get to talk to one fan a day, I'm happy because I'm talking Browns football with the best fan base in the world. Thanks again for watching, guys. Have an amazing rest of the week. I hope you enjoy all of the free agency madness that we get, over this period. But most importantly, go Browns.